Right. Hey, everybody. Earl Fanatic here from the Cryptopolitan. And today we have on the show AR from Hello Friddy. AR, how you doing today?
Good, good. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us here today, Earl. Really
Hey,
appreciate
glad to have you guys. Well, let's dive right in. Um, the first question is tell us about the project. Tell us about Hello Friddy.
it. It's actually only Freddy. I think the confusion came from the original name that we had on the Zoom account, but that's
Oh,
okay.
okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so Freddy is a way for people for international companies to receive payments globally through alternative payment methods. So I'm not going to dive into a lot of details. I think during the interview we'll have a lot of more information, but
Mhm.
we are an alternative payment provider that is decentralized, built on blockchain.
Okay, gotcha. So what's the unique part that from the Friddy side that sets you apart from other places that do kind of a similar service, right? Because there's a lot of people who do, like, as an example, I was talking to Franklin the other day, and they do, international money transfer. So I'm Filipino, right? And so our biggest export is nurses, right? And so what happens is that we send people out there into the world and they do their nursing thing and then they send money back home, right? And
Mm,
when we
mm.
send money, like from the transfer sort of equation, right? Like all of it gets eaten up in fees because, like, to wire something, like, let's say I want to send $400, the wire is $40, and then the forex back and forth is another, what, 8%. So like 18% gets eaten up. That's crazy. So crypto, presents like a actual real world usage to be able to, hey, send money home and all the fees aren't eaten by the guys the money changers, right? So tell me about, like, Friddy, and what makes it special and what makes it different.
I'm very glad you started actually with the problem, giving a narrative or a comparative view on money transfer. It's the same amount of issues for international companies like your blue chip companies, your Facebook, your Google, all of these big international companies. They're
Hmm.
facing huge problems when it comes to receiving payments from emerging markets. So, Philippines, Malaysia, we're talking about East Asia, generally Middle East and North America. And if
Okay.
you're talking about Latin countries, all of these countries have major problems when it comes to receiving payments through card.
Hmm.
So the payments through cards basically represent several major problems, as I mentioned. The first one is the settlements take very long time. There is a huge market access problem, and this is the main thing.
Hmm.
So when we talk about market access, everyone paying through cards, the big companies realize that when they're trying to acquire customers, there is not a lot of financial inclusion. Most of the companies most of the countries use alternative payment methods.
Hmm.
In Brazil, people use Pix. In Egypt, they use Vodafone Cash. In other countries, they
Yeah.
use these wallets or these cash systems that are 95% used in P2P to buy cryptocurrency, right? So
Mm.
we're taking that model of P2P, we'll come into that a little bit more, and we're converting it in a problem where it solves the regulatory issues and it allows these international merchants to receive payments in local currency from the buyers and receive them internationally into their bank account in their dollar accounts or in their native currencies in there. So
Right.
that's a major problem. It's a $3 trillion cross-border transactions problem that are facing the companies who are in the digital world. This is defining the problem basically, since you started from that dimension.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. So I know from, like, a B2B perspective. So I used to be in the treasury space, which is only, what, north of 100 million that cares about treasury. And the Forex fees are crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I always thought that was nuts, right? Like, how much is Coca-Cola paying for Forex? Oh my gosh, right? And it's that could buy like a couple cars every day, every couple hours. I'm like, that's insane. That's a lot of fees going back and forth between even the same entity, right? Because the same entity, from a business to business perspective, like, let's use Coca-Cola as an example, right? How much money does Coca-Cola have? It's really hard to say because there's, like, what, eight, nine, 10 entities per country, per language, per currency. And it's insane. I'm like, wait, holy crap. And so some of the inefficiencies that you're going to start seeing in the B2B larger space is that, some of these entities are taking a loan from the bank where they should be taking a loan from themselves, right? Because they have the money, but they don't know how to transfer it and they don't know how much money is back and forth. So that's one of the blind spots in B2B, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, that's fantastic. Actually, this goes back to a problem where, well, a case I witnessed in Egypt when they did the debugging of the currency, which is basically they allowed the currency to adhere to supply and demand a
Oh boy.
few years ago, and
Yeah.
that increased the price of the dollar sixfold in one time a couple of years back, and that impacted immediately all the international clients or the
Yeah.
international merchants who are trying to sell in a country like Egypt, because
Mm.
all of a sudden, all of these cards, their limit in dollar in order to get the payment done is no longer valid. Because if you were able to pay $1,000 before, that $1,000 got cut by one on of the seventh of the limit of the card. So you've
Mm.
lost a market overnight. And it's not only the fees issue, it's the actual market access in all emerging markets. And governments, in order to stabilize their countries from an economic point of view, are basically they want to limit as much as possible the leave of these currencies, hard currencies that they beg their currency to, and that's economically the major issue. So you have cards, you have financial inclusions, you pay a lot of money as Visa and MasterCard in order to onboard people in financial systems. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, you get to a point where the government wants the local payment methods to work and the international ones not to work, just to make
Right.
sure that we're able to pay our debt, we're able to stabilize the country's price of their currency, and all of that impacts these international merchants in being able to sell in these countries. So
Right.
as we going back to the same problem, we're trying to provide a market access to these international payment methods uh, by allowing the people to participate for the first time.
Mm.
This is what is exciting about blockchain. It allows people to actually be part of the solution rather than just going back to how is it enforced by the economic situation of a certain country.
You bet. Well, part of the thing I've been noticing is that as we start doing these interviews, as we start, delving back into the community, the ecosystem, everything like that, um, is that the change in the value of the utility has gone up like by multiple factor, right? And that's what's really nice about this sort of thing, right? When you're able to build solutions, it's kind of like this. You're helping real world people, right? Like, I mean, depending on the country, like you said, like the swing could be a 400% difference, a 600% difference overnight, and just magically none of your stuff works anymore, right? So if you're able to stay it in like a crypto model, right, it's not subject to the same forex and the same fluctuations as the incumbent market that's sitting there, right? So if it's sitting in like for example, a stable coin or whatever, hey, you know what? It's not so bad if it's sitting there, and then you can convert to fiat as required, right? And if the fluctuation hits, it doesn't destroy your ability to to spend like we were just talking about. So I'm curious, what are you most excited about in the space?
Well, this is an interesting subject, talking about the utility of projects. And from a strategic point of view, as you can see, the projects that started with a strong utility proposition, you see all these big propositions that started that like XRP, HBAR, and all of these projects started a few years back have become really huge because they simply focused on a real proposition that solves a problem in the world. So
Right.
Ripple XRP focused on the treasury part of banking solutions and trying to create an inclusive settlement system for the banking industry uh,
Mm-hmm.
instead of these old, like built in 60s and 70s systems, and they've gone huge doing that. Same thing, HBAR has built one of the strongest ecosystems in the world, where they have a strong utility for their ecosystem, being a financial utility kind of ecosystem. So the most exciting part is to see these big companies or big names after a few years becoming a real world changers when it comes to value proposition or what they're trying to provide the world. And that is proving that blockchain in itself as a solution is changing the world, the financial world, or
Mm-hmm.
moving the money or moving the monetary value between A to B with all the products that are very innovative around the world. So utility, as you said, is everything. Making sure that there is a strong value proposition in what we are providing that solves any problem in the world. Um, till now, everything is or a lot of projects are coming speculative. People are interested in meme coins, but if you want to look at projects that are strategic and that would benefit you financially, these are the ones that come with a strong utility to the proposition they're providing.
I found that from like the investment space, right? Looking at this in from the inside, um, anybody who has like a fundamental analysis kind of background, so a fundamental trading type of thing, they're always looking for the utility, they're always looking for the structure, they're always looking for the underlying, essentially magic technology that really makes this thing
Mm.
go. Because you bring an actual real world solution to it. So yeah, that is that. So cool, cool. Moving right along, I guess the next piece is what are you into when you're not, building utility? What are you into like as a person? Just interesting hobbies, interesting things that you do. What do you do when you're not in front of the screen?
Well, I'm actually most of the time in front of the screen.
I know, so am I, but you got to do
Most of
something
us, right?
outside. You have to have a bit of a
Most of
life.
us, right? So basically, I graduated applied mathematics, so I spend a lot of time creating models, financial models, and I'm into helping startups as much as possible, building their business models as a startup. So there is a lot of my life as a hobby, being advisors on crypto projects and on technology startups. A lot of people around me from the community are people who are building. They're founders, they're builders, and we
Mm.
are one large group of a lot of international friends, and we discussed that. What is happening and what are the innovative solutions and what are the shortcuts of what we're trying to achieve, and that kind of collaboration is a lot of fun when you have the right people around you, if that makes any sense.
Mm, that does make sense. So yeah, very cool. Yeah, the collaboration and everything else makes I mean it makes the community go further, right? Because as a whole, we get to discuss different ways that we're facing things. And as you run into different problems and different pieces of the puzzle, there's that sharing and there's that community, right? And like, there could be 10 of us sitting together in a pod and one guy asked a question and it changed the life of nine other people, right? So
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And
that's
you get to see a lot of genius around you. People are who are builders around the world, especially the founders of, they face an unfair challenge. Basically, all these founders of technology companies, whether in the blockchain space or the technology space or the fintech space, they face unfair challenges when it's just because of their sheer small size. So it gets interesting when you collaborate a lot with a lot of people, seeing how they solve problems, right? So that helps you a lot advising the next one as a friend. Hey, someone did this, and you can take his advice on the best way. And that brings along speed and brings along innovation in a much faster way. So I think what I'm saying is the most fun part of my date is when I see a friend of mine with our groups of founders doing something that is a little bit different. It sounds crazy. It sounds very, very challenging and very risky. And at the same time, the reward of it or upside of it becomes world changing. And I've seen that over and over. So
mm,
is a lot more fun than it sounds, because that kind of genius is a lot. It's abundant in the world, and you find it
absolutely.
in all the people around you.
And sometimes it's just a simple question that someone asks and innocently out of the blue that shifts everything, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly, and
So
it shifts it in a way that creates ripple effect across the board, and you can see the names rising pretty quickly out of uh, the innovation people are doing.
fair enough. Well, fantastic. Well, we're getting to the end of the show here, and it's the last question. Give the viewers a reason to connect with Friddy. Like who are you trying to meet? Who are you trying to grow community wise? Who are you trying to connect with? And give them a reason to connect with you, and then tell them where you want them to go. So you want like what channel do you guys want them to grow into?
Okay, fantastic. So what we're doing now, we haven't got into during this interview to a lot go through how Freddy works. It's a very
Mm.
interesting concept because we're decentralizing payments.
Hmm.
So just like Uber, we're allowing people to make money through participating in transactions for international merchants. And this concept itself, since we were not taking it in a little bit of detail in the interview here, would love if you connect with us on LinkedIn, check out our team,
Okay.
and check out the amount of background that we have in the space, whether it was a crypto space, financial technology and in the payments industry. Get to know us, get to know about the project. Go to our website on the wiki and see the amount of documentation, the white paper. Our white
Mm.
paper got published on both Harvard and Princeton research directories. And please get to know the project a little bit more. We are now in our pre-sale at this stage till the end of Q1 2025, where the price of the coin is relatively low at this point in time. It will go up
Hmm.
$13 before we go into listing. That being said, connect with us on LinkedIn. You will find a very supportive team. And you can connect with us on our wiki page on our support system on the website on friddy.com. Friddy is with an I, Friddy.com. And we'd love to see everyone on our space and get to know you all.
Fantastic. Cool, cool. Well, I'll definitely connect with you guys on LinkedIn and I'll share the word. And no, I appreciate what you guys are bringing to the market, and I appreciate the actual utility, right? Like that's the thing that makes me happy, right? Because this is what gives the longevity to this program. This is what gives longevity to blockchain. This is what gives longevity to the space in general, right? So that's really a cool thing.
Amazing. Truly appreciative of the time you've given us today, Earl, and the very warm structure of the interview and amount of knowledge you have. Would love to do this again sometime later on when we have a few more updates. We have a few upcoming exciting things happening. We've just launched our console, so people can actually go and check it out. And we have a few exciting announcements that we will be announcing in the next couple of months.
Absolutely, would love to have you guys back. This is a great conversation, and your depth and level of knowledge is fantastic as well. So it's cool being able to talk to somebody at this kind of level,
Thank
and
you
really share
very
ideas
much.
and get people to check it out. So everybody, check out the project, Friddy. Connect with them on LinkedIn. This is going to be a fun ride here, I think.
Thank you very much. Truly appreciate your time today, Eric.
No worries, and good luck with the launch, and good luck with the token and everything.
Thank you very much. Truly appreciate it.
Cheers, cheers. Thanks for being on the show.